So today we've had already a wonderful conversation. If we had to boil it down, you said something like, how do I practice being Teflon? I was thinking about how do we own our own agency? I brought up that I have this pin that I love that says don't should on me. We talked about a few books, like Nonviolent Communication, the book Boundaries and Safe People by or the books Boundaries and Safe People by Cloud and Townsend, the Four Agreements. And I was thinking of, we have a stop sign on the road, and when someone throws their should at us, it's it's one thing to have it over there, but then how do we prevent it from being spun up in a tornado that can smack us in the face and hurt us? How do we, like you said, be Teflon?
Yeah. And this is, I find with people that are particularly empathetic, people that are compassionate, people who care, people who are very well attended, it's hard because we do care what people think, and we feel it so deeply. So part of this, for myself, is this practice. It's really a practice of being able to stay present and compassionate and acknowledge people and yet not absorb it or take it in. This we mentioned the Four Agreements. So Don Miguel Ruiz, has these, it's a beautiful book. And one of them is the Four Agreements is not taking things personally, right? So it's like, how can I hear, wow, that's an opinion that you hold, that's important to you, that people should be a certain way, or your perspective about things. And yet, if you're not asking me a direct question, or if you're not immediately saying, will you do this or will you not do this, just not just listen. And I notice it's really hard because I have a deep impulse in that to try to explain myself or to respond to everything everyone says, to validate it. And it can be really uncomfortable, but sometimes to just nod and listen and not say anything unless somebody is actually asking me a direct question. So that's one way.
And you mentioned that, people, well, I was thinking about how it can come at us in different ways. I was thinking of someone at the grocery store saying, oh, you like that type of gum? Well, you probably should get these types of mints to go with it. They pair well together. It's easy enough to be like, okay, thanks. But let's say you've got someone in your life who's a lot more woven in. They know the people there's a lot more energy there. And so it can be tougher to not take in, and they can use people to be like, well, so and so thinks you should do this, and they can get a whole team of people who are in agreement about why you should XYZ, and how to just
Oof.
still keep your own safety as priority.
You
It's
want to role play? This is one of those role play places. Do you want
I
to
will say
try
that.
that? You just come at me as that person and we'll see what happens.
Well,
I'll try to be Teflon.
I'm the shoulder.
You're the shooter. I'll be the shouldy.
Okay. No, that wreath behind you, don't you know that symbol is offensive to Christmas elves, that they own that wreath, and you should not be having that in your house. Don't you know, like, aren't you friends with Santa? Don't you want Santa to bring you nice things for Christmas? Like, Santa really would not approve of that, and you should just, first of all, you should be ashamed of yourself, and you should take it down.
Oh my goodness. Wow. I hear that you have strong feelings about this. And it sounds like you really care about Christmas elves. And that's beautiful. I'd love to hear more about what they mean to you. Do you want to share?
Well, I have been in the Christmas elf ministry for 29 years now, and they work hard all year long. They get very little credit. And you know, you claim to be such a nice person, and yet you won't be nice to them. So I think either you admit that you're not such a nice person, you should admit that, or you should, do what I think is right, because I'm the boss of the world and I know everything.
Well, thank you for bringing that to my awareness. I will, you've certainly given me a new perspective. You've given me a lot to think about, and I appreciate that.
Well, I guess there's not much left to say then.
So we'll break so like you really brought it, right? There was a lot of shoulding going on there, and you should do this, you should do that. And it was like, I think, and that's a little bit of my sort of like, that's the ninja kind of like when somebody comes at you with attack, you just sort of like go, you just like let their, momentum like, but there wasn't any like, well, will you take that down? Are you going to take it down tomorrow? Are you going to, like, which quite often doesn't, unless somebody really, then just give them space to express their, and that kind of like, wow, you really feel strongly about that. Tell me more, or, like, I hear how much energy you've put into that. In fact, it's, I don't know. How did that feel for you?
I mean, it was interesting because my mind kind of went blank at the end. I was like, well, the energy of the meh, it has it's there's really no more.
Right. Cause I'm not pushing back. And so there's no, right. Sometimes and that is a good thing to notice, right? When we're like, let me push back on that, or I don't think that way about it, then they get more fuel. It's like sometimes now they're coming at you even stronger. Yeah.
And I think one thing I'm wondering is, okay, so let's say I'm saying I know Santa best, but you know that that's really not true. You've spent way more time with Santa. Like, how do how do you not feel the
Oh,
questioning of, oh, what if they're right? What if they do know Santa's heart better? Like, what if, and when they're kind of questioning your reality?
right. Oh, so that's a deep one. And it really, what it comes down to internally is, am I taking their word over mine? Because if internally I know that Santa and I are, and I know that, but if I try to convince them of that, what's going to happen, right? They're going to come at me stronger. So sometimes it's just, I know better than to actually bring it up even. If they're not asking, if there's no, and the only reason I would bring it up is because I'm having doubts. So what I do is I internally just go, do I know that? Do I know my connection? Do I feel good about it? If I do, great. I don't even need to put it on the table, because all it's going to do is, put fuel on their fire.
It just reminds me of taking the lid off the pressure cooker, letting them get their steam out and moving on with the day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I would say this is so valuable as always. I look forward to many more role plays and much more learning. And I thank you so much for sharing all your wisdom.
I always enjoy it, Larissa. Thanks.
Thank you.